today I'm honored to be the presenter to show you how to demonstrate how to model the business strategies with popular business frameworks using Abacus. And before we go to the topic of today, allow me to give you a quick introduction about our company. We have been in the enterprise architecture industry for over 20 years. Our tool, Abacus, has been ranked #1 in Gartner Quadrant critical capabilities in consecutive years, certifying us as the best for EA development, and it has a quite high ceiling for the development of other business areas. And also thanks to the flexible graph database backend, metamodel can be configured and deployed quite easily, so reports can be built in hours instead of days. So which turns to productivity increase and also reduction in cost quite significantly. And Abacus has also helped fostering a collaborative environment, being the both data-driven and diagram-driven at the same time. So you can imagine that the data portfolio can be reused in diagramming and vice versa, allowing everyone to contribute yet to maintain a quite consolidated repository without duplications or unnecessary information. We are also a global operation with offices in Australia, Singapore, UK, United States, and South America, making our support available for you 24/7. So without further ado, let's get to the topic of today. So the first question from our observation is that we have customers who have been quite successful in the enterprise architecture work and also business modeling in general, but very few of them come to the domain of strategy modeling. So not model the enterprise architecture without the modeling of strategy. It's just like what you see in the picture, as if you are painting the line for the road. You don't move the obstacle and pretend everything works fine. That's just not the case, because the reason we are doing enterprise architecture is that we want to bring value to the business decision, which is actually the strategy part. So what are the common explanations or more like excuses enterprise architects don't do modeling of strategy? So the first one is that strategy formulation is the management's job, which is certainly correct. We don't expect our enterprise architects to work on day-to-day strategy formulation. But let me use the example of application portfolio management, which also involves like applications which our enterprise architects are not developers or even application managers, but we still model that on day-to-day basis, knowing our work can contribute. So it's the same thing for strategy. If we choose the right framework, the strategy formulation can be done by the management, but the framework is maintained by us. We will later see why that's the reason. And second explanation is that strategies keep changing, so they don't fit in a fixed framework. So for example, different people use different ways to write strategy statements. Some strategy touch on goals, some strategy touch on just course of action. So it's hard to model, but that's also not correct. The first half is definitely correct, like strategies keep changing, but that's exactly the reason we want to model and keep track of them, and picking the right framework and use it in the right tool can help you track the progress and help with execution. We will see example as well. Last but not least, I think that's probably the only real reason that some people may not have the skill to model that. But I definitely feel that's an underestimation of the enterprise architects' expertise, because with the existing work already happening in the other domains of the architecture, modeling strategy is actually very handy, and you just need to do minimum research and to use existing frameworks to kickstart such practice. And we will look into that. So with that, then the follow-up question is, okay, if strategy formulation is some framework we can borrow, is there a certain one in the market we would recommend? So for that question, we definitely want to analyze for some key merits, like what is a good framework for strategy formulation. So the first point we can think of is like we want to have some consistency in the formulation. So for example, we want to have reusable strategy elements. So strategy statement can be more guided, like with these elements, I have the statement, and these strategy elements can be reused over time for simplicity of work and also analytical value. And the second is that the strategy elements should address the question of what, when, who, where, why, and how. So any reasonable person having these questions can get the questions answered. In this way, they can evaluate whether this strategy is logical and feasible. Last but not least, the strategy logic can also be evaluated. So for example, when we choose different strategy elements, we want to make sure that they actually don't conflict each other. For example, we cannot say we want a premium customer service, but we want to maintain very low cost. That just doesn't work together. So that's why having the reusable strategy elements also help you to identify whether some of the strategy elements actually cannot get along with each other to be avoided. So with all this in mind, after a quick research, I found out this framework, the Hambrick's and Fredrickson's strategy diamond, could be a solution for that. As you can see, this framework is approaching strategy formulation through the 5 key strategy elements. Arena is about what and who, like what products do we want to launch, and also which market or who our customer will be. And vehicle is about how do we actually achieve our goal. This is like whether do you want to do it through internal development, with partnership, with merger acquisition, etc. And differentiator is how do we stand out from competition, or you consider why a customer choose us. And staging is the when question, like what time do we want to start to execute such plan? And lastly, the economic logic is how do we make money? How do we succeed? So for example, customer will rely on, we will harvest from the brand strength, we will sell through ecosystem. All this is about how do we make money. So as you can see, all these 5 elements can be reused in each statement, and over time we will have a portfolio to do analysis. And now let's have a quick look in the Abacus tool for a demonstration. So if you are new to Abacus, the interface you are looking at is what we call the Abacus Enterprise. So this is the customer or your internal customer facing portal where you publish your enterprise architecture content for the user to use. And from the backend, we have another platform which allow you to do meta modeling and construction of data, which we won't cover today. So we have 3 types of users mostly. The first type is read-only users. So if you buy our product subscription, we actually allow a limited number of users to have read-only access to the environment. So that gives you very powerful publication portal that your work can be read and shared and commented by the enterprise-wide stakeholders. So the second type of user is Abacus editors. So basically editors can make change to the catalog, for example, each property value. They can also add new components. So in this way, editors can be the data stores, or they can be key contributors from different departments to foster the collaboration inside the EA community. And last one is about the diagramming. So this is the modular feature, and usually it applies to the solution architects, business architects, process drawers. So these kind of people, they can come into Abacus and start to make modification to the diagram. For example, I can quickly create a connection between these 2 applications. So in this way, your data can be made useful for these people to create visualization for their ideas. So after introducing the three types of users, let's look at some basic functionalities of Abacus. So as you can see here, it's a quick demonstration just using 4 dummy applications. So you can see the same data set can be reused for different visualization and charts. So in here, you can see I can put them in the catalog view, in the diagram view, in the like quadrant view of bubble chart, pie chart, and they actually interact with each other. So for example, if I click on one of the applications, I think my instance maybe menu reload. So now, for example, if I click on one of my applications in the diagram, as you can see, there's a filter applied. So this particular application 2, which is not linked to application 1, is filtered out from the applied filter, and the other connected components are still showing here. And as you can see, all the other visualization filter with it. And such interaction happens for all the charts. For example, I click on the pie chart to show the life cycle recommendation. So the applications satisfying such a property selection will be filtered out. And similarly, if I go to bubble chart or if I go to the Gantt chart, as you can see, only the application fitting the filter will be filtered out. So after understanding the basics about the interaction in Abacus, let's have a look how can we model strategy in our platform. So I will use this new dashboard to start from scratch to see how we can build a dashboard from scratch for such activity. So first, we might want to have a title, although there is a dashboard title, but it may be too small. So if we want to have a bigger title, we can use the custom content portlet. And as you can see here, it's like HTML editor, basically. It allows you easily to mark up text or having linkage, create a drop-down menu, navigation panel, etc. quite easily. So let's just have a simple example. Let's say strategy dashboard. Correct the spelling. And I can highlight the text and select the, make it a header. And also I can start to change the size of it. Maybe 100 pixels is too big, I just make it 80. So all these operation syntax, you can have a reference to these 2 pages to see. And also it has linkage to other websites, our dashboards. You can insert picture, for example, in here. And also you can link to use it as an iframe. So if you use other platform to do enterprise architecture work like SharePoint, all those platforms could be quite easily embedded into the tool. So let's now have that as our title so I can make it wider. So I can save the dashboard so this portlet will be here. And now starting with the strategy formulation, let's go to add a catalog because we want to first have a catalog of all the strategy statement. So I go under my architecture where I model the strategy example. So see, I can bring out my strategy diagram formation catalog. So in here, you can see it's basically a catalog showing my strategy statement, and I can modify what is the strategy elements in later to validate the statement and for analysis. So you see, I have an existing statement about introducing a new VR headset, which touch the 5 elements, like when do we want to launch it, how do we want to approach for the product, whether acquisition or internal development, and differentiator, arenas, etc. So let's use the same format and create another statement for strategy. So let's assume I'm a strategy creator, let's say your management. So they can, you can give them an editor license and they can come in here, either create a new one or update existing placeholder one. So assuming this is my strategy, which I want to form and evaluate. So first, I can cross-check this strategy with the element to see if I have all the elements covered to make sure it has robust logic in that. So I can start to have a look with existing strategy elements. So I can see my timing is 2027, so that's all good. And I want to focus on the ESG savvy customer. So if I'm developing a smart home energy system, I focus on the ESG concerns of homeowners. I think that's all good. But let's say if we use a more broader way to say, okay, affluent and tech savvy customer is also closely representing our profile, so that's all good. And we want to utilize our ecosystem we have. So, and it's also premium electronic, want to cross-sell using the ecosystem. And definitely want to have a design that's sleek and minimalist way as we have usually do. So now we have that, we can have a count and see, okay, basically we actually have 4 type of elements, but not vehicle. We don't define how do we get there. So we can reevaluate our statement and say, okay, we want to partner with a industry leading energy provider. So, okay, I can see that's actually some new strategy element that's not in the portfolio. So don't worry, we also have a quick, simple way to allow you to modify those elements. So we can bring out the elements catalog. And here, for example, I just want to say, this is the portfolio of the elements. Let me quickly save the dashboard. And I can just quickly add new. I will say this one I call partnership with market leader. As you can see, I'm being a bit general. I don't specify it's the energy industry because this statement can be universal to a lot of the strategies. So I just say, okay, I want to partnership with my market leader. And this way, once this strategy is created, I can give it a type, just saying, okay, I want this to be, it's actually the vehicle. And in terms of the alignment score, it's actually a calculated field, which is happening in the backend. Once I have this alignment assessment, for example, some of the strategy elements will work closely with each other, and some of them won't be working closely that much. So for an example, let's say I have the strategy element of premium custom consumer as we described, and it only works 50% with internal development because it's indifferent, like whether you buy from, you develop from internally, or if you have external acquisition or partnership, the pricing shouldn't be affected that much. So that's the logic behind, like you can evaluate each strategy element against each other. And we can see in a whole pool of strategy elements, which one actually stand out. So that's actually indication these could be reused more often since we have the strength in there. And now with that added partnership, we can start to modify the existing connection. So with the addition of the strategy element, it's available for us to select from here. And now we can see our statement is complete. So in this way, you can see it's a quite guided practice. Like any reasonable person having an idea could have their idea turned into a strategy statement in a controllable way using the strategy elements, which can be evaluated over time to see the validity of such statement. So yep, that's about the strategy formulation part. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so once we have the strategies formulated, what's the next? So one of the reason enterprise architects don't model strategy that much, every company have their strategy statement for sure, but why are they not in the repository? One big reason is that there is still a gap between the daily work of enterprise architects and the strategy formulation and execution. And the reason being that, let's have a look. What we enterprise architects can actually help answer some of the questions. So first, for economic logic, we can consider that's already in the place, because if you consider like cross-selling, or if you consider economic of scale, that's more like a strength or logic built over time that's not to be changed easily by any much work from EA. So we can consider that's not our focus. And differentiator, similarly, if you do like a sleek design or premium customer service, etc., that's also considered more like a culture, or arguably some capabilities are hard to change. So let's consider that's also not our focus. And similarly for staging, it's more like a plan for the project execution. We consider, okay, once we are ready for project stage, that come naturally. So we don't focus for this stage. So that leads us to the next one, like arenas. This is where we really can help, because it's answering the question of what and who by using our existing data from enterprise architecture. We have our product portfolio, we have our solution of services, we have our customer journey map, we have our customer analysis. All these are quite useful for the product and market analysis, which we can help directly. And similarly for vehicle, how do we get there? That's really about how do you actually provide a value stream, value chain, solution view for certain services, etc. All this kind of model is quite like actionable in the EA space. So let's have a closer look. How do we proceed? So now the next task is that we do have to categorize our strategy. The reason being that, as again, using the example of application portfolio, we definitely want to do the categorization first, because applications fall under each category may have common features which we can utilize or work on to concentrate the effort. And quite similarly for strategy, we can categorize and concentrate the effort to attend to the group of strategies more easily. So what are our selection criteria for the strategy categorization? So the first is that we definitely want to profile for the two critical aspects of the arena, which is the product and the market. And the second is that ideally it guides the vehicle selection. So the model is supposed to tell us, okay, we categorize the strategy, what's next? How do we get there? So after research, we happen to find a framework that works, which is the Ansoff Matrix. So as you can see in here, it's a matrix view using the product and market in the Y and X axis. So with the combination of new market or existing market, new product, existing product, you should come with 4 different type of strategy categorization in terms of diversification, market development, market penetration, and product development. And you already start to see why it guides the vehicle selection. For example, if it's a new market and a new product, it will be tremendous effort if you do internal development. In this case, acquisition might be a wiser choice, since you will have the product and market at one go to start with. And similarly, if you already have the product, but you want to penetrate to a new market, then partnership with existing market player might be a better vehicle. So you see, that's already start to answer both questions. That's critical in the strategy formulation. And let's have a look inside Abacus. So similarly, we could get the artifacts relevant to Ansoff Matrix into the picture. So this time first, we want to get a diagram of that matrix view first. So here I have my Ansoff Matrix, and I can put it in a picture. This matrix will be quite useful for navigation and analysis later. And I can start to add a portfolio of my strategies as well. So I go with the strategy category catalog. And now, as you can see, we can start to do analysis. After we have the strategy statements, we can start to connect it to our existing industries or markets or even customers, which one as you see fit as the representation of the market. And you can also link it to existing products. So for example, this one, I can see not only product one, but another a smart home energy system can be contributing as well. So after this, you can see my product is linked to my strategy. So you can see it's already started to penetrate to the more familiar domain of the enterprise architecture. And now after identifying whether it's new or existing, we are able to give it a categorization of the 4 domains. So now let's say, okay, I want to see what are the market penetration strategies. So after that, if I click that, you can see the catalog is filtered together with it, and adding diversification into the picture, I can see what are the other strategies in these categories. So now what's the benefit? After you profile and putting them into different categories, you can see that this year we are focusing heavily on the diversification. So that means we're working on new products and new markets a lot. That's quite an aggressive approach. And in turn, we will need investment. So this giving the management an overview of what we expect for this year's financial expenses. And that's for top impact. Then for the like downstream impact, it's now these products and markets will be the focus. Once the strategy has a go ahead, we will work around these existing elements in the enterprise architecture for improvements. So that's about the strategy categorization. And after we have the categorization, which already penetrates to the product, to the product and market profile, and we can look at what's next. Now things are definitely getting easier because it's quite clear the next step is we want to work closely with the product portfolio and also the market or the industry portfolio just to make our strategy more actionable. And also we can evaluate whether we have the existing resource or it's too difficult for both aspects. So in terms of the product portfolio framework, you definitely know the famous one, the BCG Matrix, basically allowing us to analyze for the market growth and market share for existing products to decide, okay, which ones could be the potential candidate for our strategy, or if we have a new potential product, how are they likely to fall under each of the category. And similarly for the market analysis, we have Potter's 5 forces. So in this way, you can see if you are in the market, if this market is not so desirable, why is that? Is it too easy for competitors to entry, or is it like a lot of substitutes? By analyzing each elements, you are able to see, okay, how do we improve to make our existing market more desirable? And also, if we are penetrating to a new market, how do we get there to overcome all these difficulties? So similarly, let's have a look of that inside Abacus. So for the BCG matrix, it works quite the similar way as the Ansoff matrix. So let's have a look. So first, we definitely can just get the visualization into the picture. And as you can see here, this matrix can be used for the same operations. But on top of that, we can actually do more things. First, let's bring in the catalog. So I have all the products in here, and you can see that I have a product rating for the market growth and market share, which in turn translate to the categorization of the product. And you'll see I have one extra column. So this one extra column is actually which process enables that product. And it's actually a value stream on top of that, which we will cover pretty soon. So see, this is exactly the step. Like if we go to the process level, I'm pretty sure every single enterprise architect knows that now this is the place they start to shine. And after we know which process help with each of the product, we are fairly confident to say, okay, we can help with the process improvement, solution modeling, etc. So that's really, you can see from top, starting from formulation, then to the profiling of strategies, then to the execution. That's how we go from top to the level we enterprise architects can help. And also using the existing visualization we have out of box. For example, if we want to bring a bubble chart showing the portfolio of the products, so we can easily select, okay, I just want to do a portfolio for my products, and I just need to choose two properties, which is the market growth and also the market share. So we can have the bubble of different size, but we use the fixed size for now. We can color it differently by any of the properties we want to receive it. But again, just use the default one for illustration. So see now our portfolio of products also are listed in here. So in this way, we can see over time, if we are having more star products compared to our current state, how we are doing with our processes improve such products. So see, all these are quite useful tools later once you want to have any improvement initiative. And then having the Potter's 5 forces is the quite similar way. I won't waste more time to show that, but rather you can include the visualization, build some charts and visualization around it for visualization and analysis purpose. And last but not least, let me go back to the slides and show you how exactly that's connecting to our day-to-day work. And so back to our domain, we can start to use the business capability modeling techniques to deliver the strategies. So basically, we need to answer the question, what capabilities do we need to enhance to support this strategy? And that's actually the exact first question we have from beginning. And from the step from formulation to categorization, now to the portfolio of product and market, we can really answer that question quite reliably. First is that, what value stream do we deploy to support the product delivery? So that's from product side. And the other question is, what processes do we enforce to influence market forces? So see, now it really goes to the process level. And let's just quickly integrate that with some common artifacts we have. So first, let me bring out the diagram of the quite typical value stream. So you see, this is a quite typical value stream view where you will be able to see the more space. So in this value stream, you can see it's a typical product delivery value stream, or let's be specific, this is a software deployment value stream. And under each of the value stream, you will have different processes helping with each of the capabilities selected. And under here, you are able to actually identify which ones are being used by our certain product, which are not. So similarly, since we already have the product catalog in place, so for example, if I just search for product 1, okay, I can see product 1 has linkage to all the processes. So that's all good. That means we probably couldn't do much more for this process other than just improve existing processes. How about product 2? This time we can see the portfolio, sorry, the value stream already filtered with it. We can clearly see that we have some places for improvement. For example, for the under R&D, I would say I go with the feature one, since for this category we only have one process, but not the other two. So let's say we definitely should improve on it. So let's just say for feature prioritization, it's a process that's definitely helping this product management capability, but we don't have it. That's certainly a gap. Then our process analyst or business analyst or solution architects can work together to fix this problem. So now this is the place we introduce our third type of user, which is the modelers. So modelers are the people who can actually modify the diagram, and also they can create diagram from scratch. So in here, for example, I just want to create a diagram from scratch. I select the architecture, I want to create my diagram, and I can choose a viewpoint. So by choosing a viewpoint, I'm able to see, okay, how my components are going to be represented on the diagram. So I definitely like this one, and I just want to give it a name. I just call it feature prioritization process. So in this way, I'm now creating a new diagram on Enterprise, and you can imagine your solution architects or process owners can easily do this themselves. So they can go to the diagram and start to draw things. So for example, I start with my tasks. I would say the first task is collect features from customers. Okay. And in this way, I can definitely give other new properties, but I just leave the properties blank and create this process. And now I can have another follow-up task, just saying, okay, once I have the process, I should submit ticket in dev portal. And in this way, you can see I have two processes and can actually connect them together to draw this kind of workflow. And once I start to create such tasks, the data backend is also being recorded in the repository. Then the benefit is that I can start to connect these tasks to the other existing components in the repository, such as application. For example, I'm using the ticketing portal. Let's just assume that's the name of the application. I can just say, okay, we actually need one application to fulfill such activity. And the task could be connect to this process to show the user's connectivity. So you see, that's once we finish that, we can actually have our whole process into the picture. And this process is named the feature prioritization, as you see, because it exists in my repository. So I can easily select that, and I can make it the parent of all the processes. Just send it back. So all these process and for application, I don't consider that as a child, but for tasks, I definitely consider it as child of processes. So in this way, we start to build solution which link to the process and which link to the product and strategy. So after that, we have the flowchart in place. We can find this feature prioritization, and I can actually start to create some linkage. So I say I want to link this one to a diagram, which is the new diagram of process flow we just created. And in this way, any other user coming here will be able to click into the diagram and see what's the next level. All right, so that's pretty much about all the demonstrations I want to show for strategy modeling. So for a quick recap, we start from the strategy formulation, how to use the strategy diamond elements to form robust strategy statements. And then we go to the strategy categorization to make sure we can manage the portfolio of strategies just like we do for all the other portfolios we can have influence on. Then we break down the strategy portfolio by key aspects like product and markets, you can definitely select other key elements to break down and turn them into the more actionable actions, which closely link to our enterprise architecture work, such as the capability and process modeling, and use the solution view and process flowchart to actually make improvements for the portfolio we are trying to address.